What comes to mind when you think of smoking? Lung cancer? Disease? Death? All of these, and many others, are among the detriments of cigarettes. Believe it or not, smoking was actually encouraged in the 20th century. Of course, not explicitly, but rather via the glamour and glitz of Hollywood actors and actresses, as well as other celebrities, many of whom sported cigarettes dangling from the corners of their mouths. This smoking sensationalism drastically increased the popularity of smoking. In fact, as part of the Marshall Plan to restore Europe after World War II, the U.S. shipped nearly 100,000 tons of tobacco to Germany for cigarette use. In the 1950s and 60s, however, scientists began publishing studies and findings that exposed the dangerous effects of smoking on health, namely the previously refuted correlation between cigarettes and lung cancer. From that point on, tobacco companies fought an uphill battle to preserve their business. Eventually, cigarettes' detriments became common knowledge, with the government actively discouraging use with graphic images.
This past week, New York City's Mayor Michael Bloomberg signed a landmark piece of legislation that will make it illegal for men and women under the age of 21 to buy cigarettes in the city. The new law, set to go into effect in 6 months, has sparked much debate. Those who support the legislation do so because of the obvious health benefits. City council members have touted this bill as a lifesaver, and given how widespread the effect of smoking is, they could be right. Smoking kills more than 5 million people a year worldwide, accounting for 1 out of every 10 adult deaths. It's also directly responsible for approximately 90% of lung cancer deaths and approximately 80 to 90% of COPD deaths. Also, 17.1% of high school students become smokers before they graduate, a percentage which most can agree is too high. There are those who argue that this new legislation will not serve its intended purpose. They insist that the increase in the legal age necessary to purchase cigarettes will not deter teens from picking up the habit, but instead drive these adolescents to New York City's thriving black market. Moreover, to some people, the idea that 18-year-olds can vote and fight for their country, but not purchase a pack of cigarettes, verges on being completely ridiculous.
The debate will likely continue as the deadline for the smoking law's implementation draws near. Although whether the law will be successful remains unclear, there are a couple of things that young New Yorkers can be sure of next year when early spring rolls around. The first is that young men will be affected more than young women. Approximately 6% more of men smoke than women, 23.1% as compared to 18.3%. The second thing New Yorkers can be assured of is that because NYC is the first major American city to implement a law of this kind, the success or failure of this new legislation will determine if other major American cities take similar paths with regard to smoking among young people.